What's the purpose behind the marketing plan? You excite, you educate, experience, and engage. Let's do this, right? Let's do this and let's have fun with it too. To my first-time listeners, thank you for joining the show. I appreciate you being here. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Marketing with In-Depth Podcast, where I'm your host, Nathan Webster, and I'm excited to chop it up with you today. Today, for episode 232, this is every entrepreneur's business obstacle that we're about to get into in just a little bit. But first, I want to thank my first-time listeners and my worldwide loyal listeners. Thank you for joining the show. If you're a first-time listener for your first time, I appreciate you tuning in. You can go anywhere. You could have downloaded any podcast, but you're listening right now. Thank you. I appreciate you. And if you like it, please subscribe, share, review, comment, and again, share. For the loyal worldwide listeners, thank you for tuning into the show once again. You know I couldn't do this without you, and I appreciate you because y'all keep it real. Y'all keep it real. So, hey, I want y'all to know, if I haven't said already, I appreciate you. All right. So let's get into this. As you can see, it's not a long podcast. I don't think it needs to be a long podcast because this is something I tell my clients. And for those that are my clients that are listening, you know, you've heard this from me before. As a business coach, as a business consultant, not so much as a marketing consultant, but sometimes it comes up a little bit. But I've said this on a podcast. I say this on social media. I was just about to say LinkedIn, but no, I posted this on almost every platform, I think. If not, check my receipts. I could be wrong. And if I am, I apologize. But let me say it now. But every entrepreneur's business obstacle is their personal demons. Let me say that again, but let me say it in the reverse order. Your personal demons becomes your business obstacles. This is why it's so important to just keep it real, be honest, be you, right? Be you in what you are capable of and what you can do best. You can't do it all at a high level. Yes, you have to do everything as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. And I'm not talking about for the people. If you're a person that bought the business, this doesn't really apply to you in the aspect of your system is already built. Now, you can go in and change it and tweak it, but an entrepreneur is someone who starts this endeavor and is taking a risk. The risk is all on them. There's no infrastructure. There is no foundation. They are laying the foundation because the foundation is them. So this is for all business owners, even leaders. You know, this becomes really important when it comes to executing the strategy of the executables that need to be done to determine whether or not this strategy is going to be successful, right? Now, these are all measured by tactics, right? Measured by a certain task that's being done. But high-level strategy, that comes to vision boarding, if you will, whiteboarding things out that came from someplace where it was out of a personal experience. And those personal experiences create the business expertise, which is why your personal demons becomes your business obstacles. Just like your personal wins becomes your business wins. It could also be milestones. It could be accomplishments. I have, like, as you see here, this is one of the many articles I've had written about me, but this article right here that was written by my local newspaper, I'm not going to mention them because they're not a sponsor, but if you want to sponsor me, I'll drop your name. But when it comes to that article, I had to pay $150 or $250 or something for that for my nonprofit. And it was great to be on the cover of a newspaper. It was great to have my name put out there. It was phenomenal to get that exposure. And it was out of a body experience knowing that the work that I've done has now come to that moment. Now, that was not just my business getting recognized. it started with me personally getting recognized, and then it talked about more about my business, but they wanted to know more about me. And so for the ones that are not watching or listening, this is important to understand that you are going to connect with people on a personal level. You're going to connect with them on a business level. More than likely, you're not going to get much traction if it's just business. That's very transactional. When I tell you all the time is to be relational. But that's also depending on if you have a push or pull strategy, just depending on what that looks like. And, that's all for another podcast, because I do want to emphasize that your personal demons, it could be fear. It could be, and fear comes in different ways. But, it says face everything and rise, or forget everything and run. I just learned that instead of forget, there's another F word. F everything and run, right? You can do one of those two things. But if you are going to face everything and rise in this fear, that fear comes out in different ways of executing these tasks. Like if you need to go get more clientele, you have to face everything. That means you got to find a way to get, first you got to find these events, find a way to get there. When you get there, you got to show up to where you just not standing in the corner, right? Okay, here's another thing. If you are just handing out business cards and say, hey, take 3, 4, 5, look, you're a red flag. I don't want to do, you know how much business cards cost? Back then, they were expensive. Now it's like they're not that expensive, so people hand them out. But you give me 4 or 5 business cards, bro, I'm throwing those away. Look, sis, thank you, but no thank you, because I don't even know what you do, and you just hand me a business card. I don't know you. So when you get there, handing out business cards, there's an art to it, right? So when you show up, when you find out, when you face everything rise, these personal demons that come out, you don't want that to be an obstacle for your business to where you can't get a customer. You don't get a client. You don't put yourself out there, right? Your business is not going to survive. So every entrepreneur, and I think this is the difference between why people keep their hobbies or their side hustles where they're at and they don't scale them to become full-fledged businesses and their main hustle. And I had to learn how to do that, because just like this in this article that I wanted to mention is that in that article, I was doing a full-time job. I had a family, young kids, working full-time, 60 plus hours a week, and then going to school full-time for my graduate degree. And then I would do my nonprofit. Y'all, it was a ton of work, but I didn't let my personal fears, demons, I won't call them personal obstacles. They were more like speed bumps, right? Because on a personal level, it was just me getting the work done. But as a business, there are systems in place. There's regulations you have to follow. And then, of course, people want to see those results. On top of that, your business needs to get paid. And you, as a business, gets paid before you individually gets paid. So don't let those personal demons become your business obstacles. So I wish you nothing but the best. Dream big and Godspeed. I'm out. Hey, if you're hearing this message, you've listened to the entire episode, and for that, we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And we hope you enjoyed this new episode. And if you did, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Please share this episode with others that may be interested in this topic. And also, feel free to let us know what topics you'd like to see covered in future episodes. Get in touch in the comments or social media networks. See you next week for the next episode.